God damn it. Okay.
Is that a butthole?
Hey.
Okay. All right. I should be able to see you. You're not, are you moving? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah. Is that,
Oh, it's better. Yeah.
did you just come up with that?
Yeah.
Did you just come up with that? Yeah, yeah, I knew it was coming. Not bad. Not bad, man. Not bad at all.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Something to show
good.
your son.
Yeah. Did you just come up with that?
Yeah.
Ah, man, that's creative.
Thanks.
Oh, what have you been doing? Did you run school?
Yeah. Just had you know, Savannah needed some stuff, so I had to bring some stuff up to school.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, when you did that, I decided that I'd work a little bit. And
Mm.
like, and I'm doing all this book work. I mean, like, accounting, meaning accounting stuff. And I have to really get in the right mindset for that. And I was all showered and just ready to, drinking coffee, ready to start getting it done. And I have this thing, which I was drinking, my coffee mug. And it's just like, this is what my, area looks like. It's just like this kind of desk and everything's just real clean and ready to go. And I, was coming over to attack it. And somehow I, looped a cord around this full coffee thing and just, you know, and it just went off like a bomb all over my desk and floor. And
Oh man.
it
Jeez.
was it was something. And then then I didn't want it to smell. And the only thing that I have that's a disinfectant type thing is what do you call that? Again, back to pee, like it's ammonia.
Yeah.
Ammonia.
Yeah.
Because because I had to buy some ammonia when I was trying to like pre-age my freshly lathed symbols.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
the aging process was ammonia. But I mean, that shit stinks and burned the inside of my nose. So I've just been, in a, in a folly type situation, one thing after another.
Man. Yeah, it sounds
But
like it.
I'm ready to, to rock if you are.
Yeah. You do it. You start it.
Okay. Well, let's just tell the people what happened. I was watching some Richard Pryor stuff, which I do like every 10 years. I mean, I just want to see if it's funny. I want to see him. And incidentally, this time, I mean, I hadn't heard this one before or watched it, but he basically, he was he was I guess he said something about gay people or something or had said. something about gay people on his previous like uh special or what, a NBC
He was
special,
addressing
you
it.
know. He well, he came out mad and he was saying, and this is what was funny. I mean, he said canceled. He said, "Well, I guess I'm canceled because of the gay joke I made." You know, that's he came out and said that, and I was just like, man, that's crazy. That's like about 40 years ago of exactly the same terminology and stuff, and for the same reasons that happens now. Anyway, it was one of those. I watched it and it wasn't that funny because he was kind of just mad the whole time, and you could tell, you know, it was kind of funny, but you know. Anyway, you said, isn't it interesting how you can kind of tell from his mannerisms before he got his disease that it was indicating that he was going to get that disease, you
Yeah.
know, by
Yeah.
the way he kind of, you know, by the way it's, yeah,
Yeah.
by all of that stuff. And then bam, you know, it presented
Then we
eventually,
started
it
thinking of other
presented, you
people,
know.
and you said,
And yeah, my next one was Michael J. Fox, who, you know, definitely with,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, he had that anyway.
yeah.
So, so what
You know, he looks,
let's talk about it.
he turns his head, and but he, I mean, he looks that way, but his face is pointing this way. But
Yeah. It, I mean, and then he has Parkinson's, you know, uh, it develops into Parkinson's. So the question, Dr. Fauci, is, you know, is what we're picking up on correct? I mean,
yeah.
is that just a redneck observation, or is that possibly diagnosable? So the one
So,
that
well,
we
you know,
stopped,
the next thing
you
I
know,
said
in that.
was you know, I was just, of course, our minds were racing to think of somebody else, another
Oh yeah,
example, and I thought
I
of
know.
Bruce Willis. You know, I was like, you know, I mean, just thinking of all the times in his not in '90s movies when he, you know, his entry or his first scene was him waking up in a difficult manner. You know, he was having a hard time getting up. You know, he really, you know, put a hard one on the night before, and he's like, and then you know he's like gets him and it's like,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know, and it just made me wonder. You know, is that,
yeah.
you know, does any of that look like aphasia, which he has?
And I said, "What's aphasia?" And I didn't know he had. I didn't know his mannerisms presented in a fatal disease. You know, right? But it did.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
crazy.
is there something like that? And then you got excited, and the next person you said was,
Yeah, Christopher Reeves.
and
You know.
then you said, and you oops, you were like, oops, what, you know, that was an accident.
Yeah, yeah. It was an accident. It was an accident, but still.
But I tried to spin it like, well, I mean, I guess he just like, you know, was acting a little too super, you know, and
Yeah.
look what
I
happened.
mean, it's still, it's, even though it was an accident, it's still possibly mannerism related that he got himself, that he hit his head while he was on a horse or whatever,
Yeah,
whatever
I mean,
happened.
uh, so, you know, I mean, then at that point, I guess we just said, you know, we need to stop talking about this or
Right.
trying to come up with people because, you know, it'd be more fun to just think of people while we're discussing it on video, you know. But then I thought,
Right.
like, well, you know, we'll probably wish that we had just thought of people because we won't be able to think of anyone in the moment.
But during that, so then I went to sleep, and the next, well, actually that night, what I was watching, you know, I watch usually really boring, you know, science or history stuff to go to sleep to. And what I happened to be watching was I didn't even know this existed. It was a PBS like 4 part, 4 or 5 part special um, on questions, humanity's questions to the universe, like how did we get here? Why are
Hmm.
can we time travel? The things like that. And the presenter was Stephen Hawking. You know, he was the host. So the show opens with him in a suit, in a sciency looking building, going, the questions of the universe. Everybody has them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, you're a genius. You can figure this out just like I did. You know what I mean? But I was watching it. I was thinking, he's another one. I saw this coming from a mile away, even though I've never seen him in any other state than the one he's in or was in, at that time
Huh.
with the bottom teeth.
Do so I guess it's the thinking of like so I was speculating, I was thinking like if there is no such thing as time, or if time is just of our imagination, um are
It's a construct.
what
It's an
we
illusion.
know as time, are these people just like, are they having some kind of universal foreshadowing of what is to come in their perception of time, decades later? Are they, is Michael J.
Yeah.
Fox, imitating himself 50, 40, or 30 years later? Is Richard Pryor, sympathetically doing mannerisms that would be similar to where he ended up? Then I mean, but I guess it's like, well, what about Christopher Reeves and Stephen Hawking? I don't know what Stephen Hawking was like before. I just thought he came out of his mother's womb in a wheelchair, as far as I know. But
Mhm.
uh he, it's like, what's their deal? Is there also an element of like taunting, or um overcompensating? Like, did Christopher Reeves, was he destined to be Superman and have that be his image, because he would become just the exact opposite of that at some point later? I
Well, it definitely encapsulates the life of the person to the outsider. I mean, everybody's going to get sick and die somehow,
Yeah.
but when Superman does it in such a dramatic way. I thought of another one. I don't know if I just thought of this one, but it's along the right lines. I mean, I don't know if Jimmy Stewart ever, if he developed, if it presented in an official, what I mean, in
Yeah.
an official way. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it did. I mean, I'm gonna say he had Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, eventually, and it culminated with him going,
Yeah. I
oh,
mean,
and then and then nothing.
yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
While Nathan, I mean, it has to be that. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna
Man,
look
there's so
up.
many, just on a side note, there's so many
There's
good people that just, um, we were fortunate enough to know about. They were out of our generation. They're not a part of our generation necessarily, except for reruns, which, we couldn't help but sing because there were just not any choices. I mean, it's like we were just kind of forced to have the pop culture of our parents, as well as our own. Um, which
sure.
I'm not sure if our parents, I guess it was just kind of the same for them, I mean, but definitely it's not, I don't know. I mean, I guess young people are very influenced by the 80s stuff. But it's weird when you talk to them, it's like they have very specific knowledge about certain things, but then, some other thing that was just huge, you just mentioned because you're like, oh, you know what we're talking about. And then they're just like, I have no idea. I've never heard of that. I don't know.
You saying the eight like generally 80s pop culture trigger people,
Well,
parent
I'm just
parent
thinking
related
like,
trigger.
how was it for the different, generations within the last 120 years or 100 years or whatever, like our grandparents and our parents, like how much pop culture, whatever there was of pop culture,
Yeah.
overlap was there. Um, where, it's just like, I mean, just things like my kids aren't going to know who James Cagney is or who is Bugsy Segal, which you mentioned the other day. Or
What did I say about him?
you were talking about the
It was funny.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
we got onto like talking about some people who've been to Las Vegas before.
Yeah, but
Man, you sent me that
it was
great
because
picture
of the
of your dad
of my dad.
and Uncle
Yeah,
Ronnie,
yeah. I
your
mean,
Uncle Ronnie.
so good.
But yeah, no, what were you saying
Yes,
about about
so
Las
good.
Vegas? I mean, I would like to hear it
Well,
again.
wildlife. It had to do. I think it had to do with with the slob trans person that you sent me. Because it was
Yeah,
we were talking about restaurants or something. I don't know. We were talking about restaurants, and
yeah, yeah,
I was saying there's always that like. Oh, that's what it was. It was like, when we were younger, especially, you'd go out to eat with a group of people that weren't your A group. You were the non-influential hanger-oner, and all your only choice was to go to Bennigan's or Fridays, or it was before Applebee's existed. But
Olive Garden. Yeah,
oh, Olive Garden, that's it, Olive Garden. And you're just like, shit, man, can't we go to there's a Middle Eastern place right up the street,
yeah.
that has good
Or
stuff. It's just like one guy making it that you see, over there making it, and he's weird, and he comes and gives you the food himself. And, nobody, there's a whole culture of people that think that's ridiculous. And
yeah, that's
why
right.
would you go there
We
when
were saying that, and we're kind of getting chaotic with our thoughts, but it's fine. I was saying that it seems like at least in the Dallas Fort Worth area, which we grew up, it seems like people our age from the mid cities, being like Hearst, Euless, Bedford, Arlington, Mansfield,
yes.
Irving, I mean, just like all those kind of things, not Dallas or Fort Worth necessarily. They have, I mean, I guess it's just kind of like a white bread suburban, um, palate or something, and so when they think about like where do we go on yeah, hey, it's Friday night, let's get a group of people to go out to a restaurant, it's always going to be Olive Garden or some kind of a chain restaurant, and to them that's like no big deal whatsoever just to do that. Whereas, yeah, and we're talking again, I know times have changed now. People have, the whole, yeah, I mean, foodie revolution. I mean, people are more open-minded now, but
Yeah.
we're talking about in the 90s, when, we were wanting to go to like, so I was saying like, when I would hang out with you and our mutual friend group or something, it's like we'd go to a Middle Eastern restaurant or Indian or Ethiopian or something like that. And that's like, just where we wanted to go, but then I would hang out with another friend group who are from the mid cities or Arlington, and it's like they wanted to go to Olive Garden, and it's like
Yeah.
they don't see
Yeah.
any problem with that, any cultural issue with that. It's just like, yeah, that's this. And then I had this, it's like I wanted to hang out with them. There's things I liked about them and stuff, and but after a few times, I'm like, hey, let me try to mix it up a little bit. Like, hey guys, there, just down the street here in Arlington, there is a great Thai restaurant. I mean, like really good. We should check that out. And it's just like this, this line of people like, huh? what? It's like I asked him to go. I think I used like, like whatever the perception of Ethiopia was in the 80s. It's like I asked him to like journey, let's go to Ethiopia and just like, live in the dirt and have bloated bellies like the indigenous people.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's like I asked them to do that or something. They're just like, what are you talking about? Why would we go there? That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah.
That doesn't make any
It
sense
is.
at
Yeah,
all. You know, so
it
I'm
is.
sorry. I know I'm
They,
dominating this.
they,
I just wanted to say that I did
go for it. Go for it.
convince them to go to the Thai restaurant, which is great. And it was just like them, just being really weirded out and picking the most Chinese menu item. That it's like
Right.
almost like the Chinese menu item they have on the Thai restaurant. They're for
I'll have the
kids,
lemon chicken. Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
have the lemon chicken.
yeah, yeah. It's like they put
Yeah,
one Chinese item for children. For children of the parents that want the
right.
good stuff. Um. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. I want you to say something
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. I mean that's it. And what I have to say is when you've done that with those people, and made them do it, and you're like, yeah, why don't get the pad thai? It's just like noodles with a peanut sauce in there, and and then they're just imagining spaghetti. I don't know, spaghetti with a Snickers bar on it or something. But after the whatever, I mean, like, reminds me of
Spaghetti
Gummo.
with some melted Snickers bars. Put the plate of
Yeah,
spaghetti in a
yeah.
microwave
So,
for 30 seconds or something.
yeah, this is Thai food. Or you take them to the Ethiopian place and what they come out, the entire conversation is about eating with your left, eating the bread with your left hand because you wipe your ass with the right one. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All that stuff. Then they just tell their friends as if they had, a cultural experience that they want to, but I don't know how we got onto it exactly. It started with that, but then it got to Vegas. There's always that person, when you go to Vegas, there's always that semi-local person that's like, oh, and you're like, where are we going to go eat? And you're thinking they're going to say their favorite, restaurant around there that you haven't heard of. But the answer is always, man, let's go get the $7 buffet at the Golden Nugget. It's the best in town. And then you're just like, that triggers other people in your past that have said, man, yeah, go to Jack Binion's. You can still get a $2 steak. You can still get the $2 steak and eggs for breakfast. Which A isn't true. I mean, it's something that they feel like they have to say, and B is completely it's a ridiculous notion, in general. Yeah, that's their secret. You can still get the
Getting
$2
away with
steak at
murder.
you can still get a $2 steak at Jack Binion's. And then you and I, we're talking about like Bugsy Siegel's dying wish as he's just been shot at Jack Binion's. Just like don't change the $2 steak and eggs, please. $2 steak and eggs at Binion's. Make it the $2 steak and eggs in perpetuity. Perpetuity. In perpetuity. That's
Oh
such a
man.
good word
And in
to
classic,
say with that accent.
dying in the 1930s or 40s fashion, it's like, the bullets were never good enough. They had to just keep like kept coming back, sitting back up and, you know, exclaim, making some grand statement, and then they, have to be blown away again, like 3 or 4 times.
I almost feel like you could swirl the Beastie Boys wiffle ball bat shit into that too. I mean, there's a Bugsy Segal,
Oh,
aspect. That's what with a wiffle ball bat. He got me with a wiffle ball bat. I could do that. We're 20 minutes.
oh my
I,
God, that's
uh,
great. Oh man, yeah. I mean, Jesus, I don't know why.
and you know what? I'll end it by saying this. And okay, so Mary Lou's, brother Freddie used to be a food purveyor in Las Vegas. So I mean, it happened. I went there with Mary Lou and my family. She's like, Freddie knows all the secret places.
Oh my
Freddie knows
God.
all the secret places in Vegas. And we did it. And we went to the place and got the $2 steak and eggs. I mean, it happened. It was probably $7. I mean, but it was like a fucking squirrel that had been run over and thrown on a flat top for 10 minutes. I mean, it was disgusting. It was beef jerky. It could have been Bugsy Siegel's himself's fucking liver that from 1935. It was awful. And all they could do was, talk about how it was a $2, but now $7.
God, it's like the Costco hot dog of that era.
Yeah. Yeah. And the idea is that you'll come have the $2 to $7 shit steak and then go, drop $500 in a slot machine. I mean, it's just, I don't know. There's something sick about it. Funny you said though that the shit about the mid cities. I got two things to say about that. First of all, and the irony is like a lot of the good restaurants, like your
Yeah,
like Padmas and stuff, and
yeah,
like all the Filipino places and shit are in the fucking mid cities.
yeah,
I mean, you gotta drive to a mid city sometimes. Other than the places that you mentioned,
yeah.
Hadaris and
That's a great, yeah,
Biblos and
no, that's a great
shit.
point. The best ones are in the mid cities. That's it. I mean,
And
it's
that ends up being the 90% of the reason anybody like you and me ever actually went to the mid cities, is
yeah.
to go to just for that purpose, to go to a restaurant.
But you
That
just
was
want to.
A,
But I mean,
and
it's like,
B.
but the people who have like non-cut off jean shorts um, with kind of sprung calves and really
Okay,
white,
yeah,
really white tennis shoes and like a t-shirt, white t-shirt tucked into the jean shorts. That crew,
right,
they
yeah,
with
that
the
crew.
spiffy haircuts, I mean, they want to go to Olive Garden, and they're a dominant force in the mid cities. They just don't recognize what the good stuff that's there. I mean, well, at least at one time, it was difficult trying to get them,
Yeah.
but
Okay, so another thing is that it's so strange the mid cities feeling, but it came up last night. Um, I mean, you and I talked about it, whatever, a couple nights ago, a little bit. I mean, it just came up. But then I was talking to Daniel last night, and I was telling him that I was gonna take my kids to do fun stuff this weekend. Just like I was just thinking of stuff to do, and I was saying that my sister and her boyfriend and their kids are gonna come over, and we're just gonna hang out and do stuff. I was saying that to Daniel, and Daniel was like, "Man, I mean, this doesn't come around that often, but we're actually playing in Bedford on on Saturday night, and it's an early show. He's like, if you basically saying, if you want to come out and scar your children for life, bring them on out. It's a daytime show, and the band
yeah,
that's opening for them is Back in Black, an AC/DC cover band.
man.
But, you know, then so I immediately texted my sister. I was like, this is going to be rough, but I mean, we could go to Bedford on Saturday evening. And she was like, well, what is it? Do you pay to get in or what? And I'm like, it's just like Mayfest, but it's Bedford. I mean, you know, it's going to be like hot with a bunch of vendors, but, you know, I sort of want to I want the kids to be able to see LaFreak and the Back in Black band if
Yeah,
they want to do it. Lena's gonna hate it, but she's got her first concert coming up ever, and she's
which
trying
is
to. And I thought maybe she'll want to get primed for it.
which is what?
It's great, Gracie Abrams.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's the new, you know, it's the cooler version of Taylor Swift, I
Oh,
guess.
okay. Huh.
You know, well, or like what's your one, Melanie
Melanie
Martinez?
Martinez. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that. It's it's the indie Taylor Swift, you know.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. There's she's my daughter's into this one in Inya. No, Inyo.
Inya?
In no, no, in no, no. I'm trying to think.
Tell me she's into India.
Inja. I don't know. Apparently she's from Texas somewhere.
Okay.
It starts with an I, and I want to say it's in it's I mean maybe it's Inyo with an I, or it's Inyo, which doesn't that I mean there's too many leaves
You're
too open for
offending
jokes.
you're offending cultures worth of people with these words already. I don't know
Well,
how, but yeah.
yeah, I want to
Well,
say
all of them.
Indio, but it's not.
Yeah, yeah, you know, sure. All of, and by the way, you know, when it's
No,
the any of the
it's
people that we've
Solya.
talked about.
Solya. That's what it is.
Ooh,
I know.
damn, that's a bad name.
I haven't heard it. I
Gosh.
haven't heard her.
But all of the indie Taylor Swift knockoffs, let's say, that I've heard, including the one your one, you know, the
Melanie Martinez.
Melanie Rodriguez and yeah, whatever. And my one, Gracie Abrams, and any of those other ones, I hear it for like 1 second. And I mean, the trigger is Zoe Deschanel. You know who that is?
Yeah, yeah,
She's an actress that just, you know, played ukulele and did indie sounding
yeah. Man.
bubble voice
Hi.
shit, you know.
Oh, so. Oh, you know what? Whenever, they love to put those songs into,
Baby, it's cold
yeah,
outside.
yeah.
Yeah.
They love to put those songs in there, and I found that the best way to impersonate those is to like hook your mouth, like, I will say a day, I say a day,
Good.
or we watched this series
Baby, it's
Bosch.
cold. No, never heard of
Um,
it.
it's like there's this the theme song was just that. It was just some like duo or something, and I got a feeling that I cannot go. I got a feeling that I cannot go. Got a feeling that I cannot go. Got a feeling that I cannot go. And I would start doing that to irritate my wife while it's, happening.
Well, what's going on?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. What we'd like to see, I mean, what we'd like to see happen is let's go down. Just a $2 steak in Australia.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess that's what they're trying to milk that microphone from that era for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean it's tough to listen to. I guess it's the next iteration of the Amy Winehouse era, whatever that was. You know when
Yeah.
they had the bouffant shit. Adele tried to get that was her intro into it. It's
Yeah.
the Amy Winehouse. shit, this is just that it's morphed into, you know.
Well, I like the where this went, but we never thought of another example of somebody whose mannerisms showed signs or foreshadowing their disability to come. I mean, we could just spend this last 5 minutes. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a big climax or anything, but just trying to think of somebody, where it's like the way acted looked like the disability they got.
Thinking. Okay.
Hmm. Well, I guess we just need to
Uh,
think of who became disabled that we know about.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at. I mean, anybody, I mean, does Muhammad Ali count? I mean,
Yeah,
you can
well,
definitely,
we don't
that
know how he
counts.
was. I don't really know how. I mean, it seems like he got worse, which I guess they all did. But I mean, was he? No, I don't know. There's something funny about that one. Um, God, disabled actors or rock stars.
I'm trying to cheat and look up a couple. I
Oh, okay.
didn't with Muhammad Ali.
Oh
I
no,
didn't
well
with
that's
Muhammad
fine. I mean,
Ali,
it's
but
not that we have to like come up with it, ourselves. Yeah, if we find a list, then we could see if it tracks.
Cher.
Cher's disabled?
Yeah. Yeah,
What
she
is?
has dyslexia.
Oh
Oh man,
man.
that's
You know
good.
what
That's
really
good.
bothers me about? I'll tell you something that bothers me about me that I've noticed just since we've been doing these talks and Zoom calls is that whenever I laugh, and I put my hand like that, and when I catch a glimpse of myself laughing, I feel like I look like Jimmy Fallon, and it really bothers me.
Oh, I know
Really
what you
bothers me.
mean. Yeah, he does do that.
God, I mean,
Dude, okay,
literally
okay,
bothers me.
let's make a prediction. Jimmy Fallon has MS. I mean, I can see that pretty clearly.
Yeah.
I could see that happening. So
Oh, okay. That's another angle. It's just like people behave outrageously or have some kind of distinctive
yeah, and I'm not,
mannerisms.
I
It's
mean,
like
you can't
where will
you
they
can't
appear?
go you can't just say like Jim Carrey, somebody that's over the top. You have to be, you have to pick somebody whose mannerisms are just
Kind of natural. It seems
they're
like
natural and they're gonna indicate the direction it's going.
yeah. Oh, what about Christopher Walken? I mean, does he? I mean, is it just
Definitely.
general old age at this point? Is he just like you know? I mean, it's just like, is it just
Yeah.
yeah, it's just probably just general old age.
Yeah,
Maybe this
there's
whole thing is full of shit. I don't know.
was it, but there's Robert De Niro is probably disabled.
Man, we're
He
reaching.
should be.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to go out with a bang, but I don't see a bang coming the next minute and a half before
Oh,
this shuts
really? I
off.
see one coming right now. Because I have an employee at the door. I
Oh,
thought he was gonna knock. I thought he was gonna knock, but you can hang out and listen to it. Come
what?
on in, Tommy. Hey, buddy. Nah, you're fine. How'd it go? Did you get some?
Yeah, let me make sure, because these are the ones that are coming.
You're fine. You're fine. Go ahead.
All right.
Yeah, yeah, you're good.
Did you get into
See ya.
fill out like an artist release form?
I thought about it. I thought about getting him on film, but I didn't
Well,
do it.
all right, man. Well, that was good stuff for the most part. So good talking to you.
Yeah, man. We'll talk soon.
Goodbye.
See ya.